Commissioner Martin to lead us in a word of prayer and pledge allegiance.
Let's bow. Gracious Heavenly Father, once again we come before you with thanksgiving in our heart. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this day. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for everyone that's in attendance to this meeting. We ask, Heavenly Father, to help us to make decisions for the betterment of Madison County, for the employees and the citizens. Bless this meeting in your name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order and roll call, all commissioners present. Have a motion for adoption of the agenda.
Motion.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add something to the agenda, please.
Yes, sir.
The resolution that's going to be presented to by the River Task Force on City tomorrow night to authorize myself to vote in favor of the resolution.
Okay. So we'll put that, under this new business.
Number one.
Number one on new business.
Do we have? Yes, sir.
We have, yes. All right, we amended the agenda, under new business. All those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Moving on. Petitions from the public. All right. Paige Kelly, step forward for soccer in our community. Come on up to the mic, podium there, Paige.
We are starting the soccer for Madison County. This will be the second year. And, we're also wanting to do a kickoff with the community with the soccer on May 4th. And we wanna have a team with the city against the county. Our organization is the Madison Youth Soccer. Its nonprofit purpose, the corporation is organized successfully for charitable, religious, educational, and scientific purposes, including for such purposes the making of distributions to organizations that qualify as an exempt organization under section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code of the corresponding section of any future federal tax code. Section 2 is specific purpose. The purpose of the corporation is to foster youth sports competition as a qualified amateur sport organization, develop quality soccer programs which promote fun and competitive environment for the youth, and to promote and support the character building principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibilities, fairness, caring, and good citizenship in order to help develop not only quality players, but also youth who can show good sportsmanship on and off the playing field. The membership of the corporation is open to all soccer players, coaches, trainers, managers, administrators, and officials without discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. But the main thing I'm asking is, we do have some kids that, parents can't afford, but the kids wanna play. So we are asking if, somebody would sponsor a child or either help them with the shin guard or their cleats. And also, I wanted everybody to put on the calendar, May 4th, on the kickoff of the soccer, and we're gonna have games and boots, and we're gonna have that soccer game, the city against the county.
Thank you, Paige. I think, Mr. Kaufman and, David Harper made sheriff probably make two real good soccer members. I recommend them. Do I have a motion?
Well, they didn't say how
far the goals had to be apart. I mean, we can make the goals from here to there, so we don't
It's
have to
gonna
go
be a
very far.
kitty one for like 3 or 4-year-olds, so it's not gonna be long, and it's gonna be at Lanier Field.
I think y'all can handle that.
This is y'all.
Lori Court.
My comments are related to a later agenda item. Would you like me to speak now or wait until you get to that point in the agenda?
On the public works, okay, you wanna wait till that? All right. Approval of minutes from the regular meeting held, February 13th, 2019.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. All right, constitutional officers. Sheriff, I see you back there. I see Ms. Barfield. Ms. Barfield's sitting on the front row. I bet she wants to speak. Step forward.
Thank you. I come to you today to update you on my truck situation. Last year I budgeted for a truck and you asked me to take it out, that you would fund it for us, and you approved $25,000 in October. Well, we've not had very good communication with Coggin Ford over in Jacksonville. And so last week I called and told him that I was desperately needing a truck. They delivered a truck on Thursday, and it was not the truck that we had ordered. We had ordered a 4x4 and it was a 2x4. And thank goodness Marie noticed it and was bright enough to tell him to put it back on the truck and take it back where he got it from. I called him yesterday and asked him if he had a truck, and he said it was gonna be another 8 to 12 weeks before he could get me a truck. He's looked at all of his inventory and was gonna see if he might could push somebody back and get me one, but he didn't see anything that he could do that with. So we have reached out to Langdale and have found a truck for $2,300 more. And all I wanna do is get your approval so that they can get us a truck next week. And it's a 2019 instead of a 2018. We need a truck. So I know this might not be the time to approve it. If you can change the agenda and put it on there, I would appreciate you considering that, and let's get a truck so I can have my field guys continuing what they're doing, collecting data. I have one other thing that I wanted to, I just got this today. I got an email from Tom Finley. If you remember Tom Finley, he handled our Nestle's case. And another attorney has reached out to him because they knew he represented us. There's a solar company that's looking to be in Madison County, and they're wanting some reduction in taxes. I'll forward this to Brian, and then I have forwarded it to Tom Reeves. I think it would be a good idea that y'all talk to them and find out what they're interested in. Tom sent it to me, and I asked him very bluntly, I said, I don't feel like it's my choice to make that decision. That would be the county commissioner's decision. Of course, I can't. But I would be the one that would administer it if you do decide to do that. So I have sent this on to Tom Reeves already, and I'll send it to Brian tomorrow. You may want to be talking with their attorney to see exactly what they're looking for. I know we do have a couple of leases in the county already for renewable energy, so may be good to get on the front of it and see what they're looking for. Okay?
Yes, Commissioner.
Do you know how many acres?
I do not. Her email didn't specify really. She had just looked up, I guess, to see who had represented my office, and I guess she thought I could make that decision. And I can't make that decision. That has to come before you all. And
Is she interested in an industrial park down here on Dale Leslie, or is she?
she didn't mention
she didn't
any
say
places. I know that we have had, Joe Wallace has got some property that he has taken a lease out on with, but that's the only one I'm aware of to date. We've heard talk of other properties, but, we just checked it not too long ago, and there's nothing actually happening there now. But I just think it would be good for you to give Mr. Reeves or, Mr. Kaufman, the authority to reach out to this attorney and see exactly what they're looking for and, you know, how many jobs is it possibly gonna bring to Madison County and what kind of reduction in taxes they're looking for. I just received this today, so that's why I, just wanted to run it by you and see what we need to do.
And you don't have any idea how many employees or anything like that?
I have no idea, she didn't give me, she was just looking for someone in the property appraiser's office that she would need to talk to concerning this. And because we're a fiscally constrained county, she's, the statute that they changed with the renewable energy, and there are some exemptions for that, but because we're fiscally constrained, we are not tied to that. So I guess she's wanting to reach out to the county and see if they're interested in doing anything. That's all I have. And just a reminder that Friday is the deadline for exemptions and classifications. If you know anyone that needs to apply for senior, homestead, ag, send them our way. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think
Mr.
it's-
Chair,
Mr. Chairman.
I think that something that probably go through the, development council precedent, or economic development arm of the county.
MCDC.
Yeah, I know a lot of those companies require large acreage for that, no
Yeah.
wetlands, anything like that.
Right.
Mr. Chair, as far as the truck concern, I think we need, Ms. Barfield, is your truck in service now, or?
It
Or it's last
is.
minute.
We have been putting off doing any servicing on it for the fact that we thought we were gonna have a new one. And, it hasn't happened, so I gave Jim the authority to change the oil in it, and that's all. Cause it's about 2,000 miles over an oil change. And this is we're talking about an 18, 19-year-old truck.
Mr. Chair, I move that we amend the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to amend the agenda to, consider, Ms. Barfield's request for truck. Any discussion?
That'd be number 2 under, new business.
New business.
I guess the only question I would have, and I wish the attorney was here, and having to do with procurement regulations for the county. I mean, if this was a sole source purchase, I could see, I don't know, Lee, you've been a constitutional officer, I'm sure you have your, and I don't know if that falls under us, or if that would fall under Lee as a constitutional officer for the procurement guidelines.
Right.
I think our role would be to allow more money budgeted to her
Yeah, I think.
would be our sole
Correct.
purpose.
Right.
I agree, yes.
If
And
that's-
they've allowed me to pay for it over the 3 years like y'all had approved with the other truck. And they gave us the price for Tri-County Electric, that was the pricing that they gave us, so.
The sheriff may be able to address this better, but under the, I guess, the Florida, state contract regulations, you can do that, but I don't know, them being from out of state, I don't know. That would be my only.
Speaking of the attorney, he gonna be here tonight?
He is coming.
He's on his way out.
Okay, well,
But that was my only concern.
why don't, all right, let's
Let's just deal with it when he get here.
Yeah.
all right, let's approve the amend the agenda, cause if it's down on the new business, it's gonna be a few more minutes, so
Okay.
maybe he'll be here. I have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign, motion approved 5-0. All right, Sheriff?
Nothing,
Okay. Thank you. All right,
Sheriff, did you wanna mention anything about, I talked to them about the door, about we got the lettering up on the door out front?
we just we're gonna show that the door's now fixed and we're taking over, shutting down Ms. Tooten's office at Quarter Till, and then the front door's at 5, but we do need some keys that's gonna
Right.
access back and forth. Right.
There you go.
So we're good, and we
That
want to
controls the front door and this middle door.
And I believe the signage has been done so that we can go and affect that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So that, other than letting them know that that's where it's fixing to happen.
Yeah. So
Just
the
keeping
annex-
that office, that hallway door's gonna be shut at 4:45. And our deputies, anybody else is in here, they're gonna be getting them out whenever they're done, escorting them out. And then that front door's gonna be shut at 5. So, Ms. Tooten's office will have and then, Lee and your office and everybody else, whether you go out the back door or either be out this door before 5. Because we want to key lock them, we don't want them so that they can just be shuffling up, be able to open from the inside.
Right.
So we're good. Is everybody good with that then, or are we starting that?
Right, we got the signage on the door, right?
The
4
signage
hours
is there.
of operation and the website.
Yes, sir.
All right.
When are you gonna start this?
We'll start it tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right.
Move to consent agenda, motion approved.
Motion.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. All right, under unfinished business, request for funds for the county guns, the Camp Cherry Lake Pavilion. Open this up for discussion.
Mr. Chair, I'll start off. I don't think we have enough funds to make a donation. And what I'm, getting to, we got the Bird Out Trust or Recreation Trust grant, but it would take a legislator to sponsor that bill to, make adjustments on that grant. And at this time, we don't have a legislator in the House to sponsor that. That's correct?
That is correct.
So-
Set aside some.
Yeah, I'm thinking about years ago, we made, had a special legislative request in to, amend the gas tax to where we pay back that special assessment. So, I would suggest to, the foundation, and I don't know if they can get it done by the start of the legislative session or not, that, if they're seeking some funds, that might be a source of income that they could get.
Well, funny speaking, I think this is sort of a fundraising thing. I'm not certainly against Cherry Lake, camp, because it's been there for a long time, and I think it's something we need for our children, but I'm not real sure that they can't find enough funds from other sources, and I just don't, I have to agree with Commissioner Moore that it's something I don't think we can really do right now at this point. Open it up to anybody else's comments.
And to add to that, in the reading, the letter we got from Mr. Steen, I don't know if, any of the other counties have contributed anything or not. They may have, I don't know.
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Kaufman, are you aware of anything?
No, sir.
All right.
I'm just not sure that we're financially, that would be a thing to do right now.
I think being physically constrained and as tight as we are on so many issues, I don't think we need to be getting in the fundraising business. So, all right, any other comments? Well,
So we're gonna notify Mr. Steen by letter or phone call that we're unable to at this time, or just let it ride?
I think we need to notify him since he came before us. We can get Brian to do a letter.
Brian, can
Call
you
him,
send him a
sign
letter
him.
on behalf of us? I'll be glad to sign it if you want. Wraps it up.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I think it's a good idea to mention that, what Commissioner Moore mentioned.
Yeah.
Funding.
I think that would be a very good idea to include that in the letter. All right, moving on, down to Public Works, possible approval of paving of the Greenville Fire Station driveway. I think we have some bids in the packet here. Mr. Kaufman, you want to address that?
Yes, sir. In your packet, you'll see a map. Sherilyn will scroll down. The white is the building itself. And the blue area is what I have outlined, to be paved. There's a little square in the front of the building there that you see, that's actually concrete, it's handicap. It was built as handicap parking. That little red thing is a fire hydrant there at the corner. And I'm sure y'all been able to read through this, but, what the issue is we've got water that's backing up into the building along the front, as well as that little arm to the north is a hill. And as you pull into that parking, it's all dirt, and so the water washes down that dirt hill into the side of the building and covers up the handicap parking place there. Tries to come in the corner of the building. On the next page, Bill Steves did this for us. He and Lonnie shot some grades out there, and the little squiggly lines are direction of water flow. And as you can see, if we pave it, we can move that water from the handicap area that washes down off that hill, and we can move it kind of around to the north of the building and out into the grass. And so this will do a couple things. One, it'll keep the erosion from coming down and filling the parking lot, the handicap area full of sand, and it'll help keep the water from trying to get into the building. And also it will help with sand, because of the sand there. Every time the truck's back in, you're tracking sand in there, and you know how we try to keep the areas where the ambulance and the sand and the fire trucks, we try to keep them clean. So pretty similar to what what we were doing up there at Cherry Lake, trying to pave those spots so those trucks can get in and out and not track all the dirt in too. But this does have an element of trying to keep the water out of the building. The slab is not very high off the ground. But if you try to do it with dirt, it's just gonna keep washing, so it really needs to be asphalt. We have 3 bids, Scruggs Company, CM Brandy's Incorporated, and Anderson Columbia. Scruggs is $27,613. Corky's is $25,398. And there's kind of an email attached from Tony Williams with Anderson Columbia, and what Tony's saying there is their bid is $29,708, but he said they would knock off $3,000 if they could come and do it when they're gonna come and do some other, those little roads that y'all had approved last meeting. But even that, with the $3,000, it brings it down to $26,708. So Corky is still the low bid at $25,398. Funds for this project would come from a couple sources, 3 sources. The city of Greenville said that they could put in some funds, probably $3,000 or $4,000. We could pull some funds from our paving budget, but like we talked about before, not for parking lots, but for the drive itself. So we could pull a little bit from that, and then the rest would come from fire funds.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I move that we go with the low bid.
Second.
CM Brandy's.
I have a motion and a second for CM Brandy's, $25,398. Any further discussion?
I did stop by there today while it was raining, and that would help tremendously as far as the dirt, keeping it from washing.
Yes.
Who actually owns the property? Is it the county or the town of Greenville?
City, yes, the city.
Yes, city.
Well, I mean, y'all can still do it on the town's property, but you just need to know that you're doing an improvement on municipal property.
Do we need anything drafted up? Okay. All right, then I have motion and a second. Any other further discussion? I'll call for vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. We'll award the contract to CM Brandy's. All right. Number 2, continuation of discussion regarding work week, for the road department back to 5 days. All right, I want to open it up to the commissioners first, and I know there's people in the audience that probably want to address that.
I guess I start. I think the question was last week, could Brian make that decision, or did the board have to make the decision? I looked in the policy procedure, man, I didn't see nothing in there where the manager could make it, but also ask the attorney to look at it and have an answer for us this meeting.
I think on the policy and procedures manual, remember, the policy and procedures manual is not a contract, it's not an ordinance, it's not any of that. You all have the discretion to change that at any time, even at this meeting if you wanted to. Now, there was a provision in there that said that I believe it was 6.8, or maybe, yeah, 6.1, that said that the employees would work in accordance with the instructions of the county coordinator and their supervisors. It was not very clear, and as far as that goes. But please understand, that policy and procedures manual is so that an employee knows whether or not the employee makes the decision or his higher ups make the decision. That policy and procedure manual is not designed, in my opinion, to delineate between the board and the administration. So my advice to the board would be that this board needs to decide what you want to do. If the policy and procedure manual needs to be changed to reflect what this board wishes to do, then that's how you should approach it. So I would say that the board, you only make a motion, second, majority vote, decide how you want to do it, and we'll go from there.
Well, I respect everybody's opinion on this, but I think, as far as I'm concerned, this board has hired a county coordinator to administer and run the departments that come under the county commission's authority. I think we're here to set policy and procedure, not to do the day-to-day operation or supervision of the every individual departments. I think we specifically hired our county coordinator. My understanding, even from the days when Mr. Bond was here, Mr. Cherry, and now Mr. Kaufman. So that being said, that's my.
You know, with saying that, back in 2008, once we changed it to go to 4 days, 10 hours, 4 days, 10 hours a day, the board made that decision.
The board didn't make that
Yeah,
decision?
the board made
Okay,
that
that was
decision.
before I had, okay.
Well, I still feel the 4 10s are the same. I think that the chain of command works, but I think it's up to the board to give Mr. Kaufman direction of where the board wants to go. Just try to pleasure the board.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like the attorney to address the coordinator's contract. I think it's pretty specific about what his contract states.
Yes.
And the part line here says, whereas the board has determined as the best interest of the citizens of the county to employ county coordinator to assure adequate and efficient provision of services to the residents of the county, provide coordinated administration of county departments to better protect the health, welfare, safety, and quality of life of the residents of the county, enable the board to freely and without unnecessary interruption its fundamental intended purpose of making policies with a framework of law applicable to the county. So
I think that's pretty specific. That's what we hired him to do.
And in addition to that, on the Florida Statute 125, it talks about the responsibilities of the board to set policies and procedures. And as the attorney just read, this is what is in his contract.
I agree. I know, Ms. Corn, you wanted to speak to this because you signed up to be on the
Do you want to do that?
public comments. I'm gonna call on you first.
Okay. Well, thank you. As I mentioned at the last meeting when this topic came up, my career experiences in human resources. So I do have a keen interest in the topic, and I know you all deferred it to tonight in order to allow yourselves time to read the county coordinator's contract as well as the personnel policies, which I also did. And I would like to take the time to point out a few highlights that I noticed that pertain to not only this issue, but other issues that may come up of a similar nature. Excuse the readers. But the first thing I highlighted was in the coordinator's contract, and it's the same thing the attorney just read, that the board had hired him, and that allows the time to administer the day-to-day. The board hereby employs the county coordinator, who shall be responsible for administration of all departments of the county government, which the board has authority to control. When you look at personnel policies, which were approved by this board, Under administration, 1.03, the county coordinator shall be responsible for the overall administration of these policies and procedures. Under item 2.06, outside employment, because I know that issue was discussed last week as well, it does point out in your employees' personnel policies, employees are discouraged but not restricted from engaging in other employment during their off-duty hours. County employment shall be considered the primary employment, and no employee may engage in outside employment which interferes or tends to interfere with the interest of the county. If the employee's other employment interferes with the operations of Madison County, the employee may be required to quit the other job, and if he refuses, he will be terminated. That's how your policies read. In section 4, organizational structure, 4.02, county coordinator is the administrative head of the county and is responsible for the administration of all departments of county government. In number 1, under 4.02.1, organize the work of county departments. Section 6.01, hours of operation. The hours of operation for each department shall be determined by the county coordinator and department heads in accordance with the needs of the county. There are also procedures for grievance process, 8.02.1. There was some mention last week where, employees were told they can't come talk to the county commission. If the employee has a work-related grievance, it is spelled out in the personnel policies how they should proceed. Step one is with their department head. Step 2 is with the county coordinator, and if it's still not resolved, it says in those instances where the problem cannot be resolved in the second step, the employee may continue the process accordingly with the Board of County Commissioners at a regularly scheduled meeting. So those policies would dictate that it's not one-on-one in the O'Neill's parking lot or after Sunday school on Sunday or wherever board members are individually approached. In my opinion, employees should be referred back to the personnel policies that govern employment with the county, and that you all either modify the policies that you adopted that says the board determines the hours of operation of each department, or comply with the contract that's in place for your county coordinator and personnel policies that are currently in place. And that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moore. All right, I'm going to allow employees, I know there's several employees here, and in all fairness to everyone present, I'm gonna allow each of you to say something if you want. I will restrict your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Well, first of all, I think all of you know me, Buddy Bryant. Been with the county 41 years. 41 years. We've always got along good with commissioners. We've never complained. We never had any problems. Even with our coordinator, we tried to get along with everybody. We try to serve the public as best we can. And I think we do it. We got a good bunch of guys and women out there. And all we were asking is if we remain the same 40 hours. We understand if we have another job and it conflicts with this job, we have to set aside. We're grown, we know that. What I'm asking tonight, if you would consider it, I realize what the policy says, and I read what you read there about Brian's position. I understand that very well. But I would just ask y'all if y'all would consider the employees. And we appreciate our job, and we're thankful for it. We thank the Lord for it. But, I hate to come to this, where we had to approach y'all. I wasn't gonna say a word tonight. I was gonna let commissioners, say what they want. But then I got thinking, I was golly, 41 years, I've probably been here longer than anybody here. And, never went through any of this. Mom asked me, done that. Mom was 88. She said, Buddy, have you ever had that happen in 41 years? I said, no, ma'am. We're a small town, small county. It's not like Jacksonville or Orlando. We kind of keep it that way. That's all I got to say.
comments? Do I hear a motion to?
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes.
And I'll keep mine to 3 minutes. This is and I've talked to Buddy about this is an extremely difficult decision for me, extremely difficult. Why? Because, I've known Lonnie and Joe and Buddy and Betty and Jeff for over 20 years. Been friends of mine for 20 years. And it's hard to make a decision when you know how it's gonna affect your friends. I mean, they're friends, they're not just coworkers, they're friends. So it's very difficult to make that decision. But when I look on the other side of what it means to the public, what it can be for the public, that we serve the public. We are available to the public on Fridays. 52 more days out of the year, we are available to the public. The road department is one of the most important, if not the important, and I don't want to hurt other departments' feelings, but if the road department's not there to keep the roads open, nothing else works. Emergency services doesn't work, the sheriff's department can't work, and you've seen over the last few storms that I have implemented the road department more into our emergency plans, because y'all are crucial. And everything that you do every day is crucial to people, to keep those roads open and maintained. It's vital for our economy. Vital for the people to get to school and not beat their cars up to keep those roads open and going. And so when I look at it from that standpoint of being available to the public, that extra 52 days of the year, that's what's led me to the decision, and based on the complaints that I get of not having you accessible. I also have to look at the overall operations of the county. And why can one department have 3 days off and the rest of the departments can't? So I have to weigh that into the consideration. And I think we ought to try to maintain it as fair as possible, but the biggest part is being available to the public during that working hours. And I saw it Friday, it happened again. Guy took off work, came in, got his building permit. He says, what other permits I need? I said, you gotta go to the road department. He says, all right, I'm headed there. I said, no, not today, you won't. He said, but I took off work today to get this mobile home moved. I said, I'm sorry, they're not open on Fridays. So it's with a real heavy heart that I make this decision. But I'm in a position that I have to make those decisions. So I hope y'all understand that when I make that decision, it's not easy, but I think it's in the best interest of our community and in the best interest of the citizens. So I hope y'all, whatever the board decides, that y'all will join me in working toward that, to do better. We can always do better. We do a good job, we do, and y'all do a great job, but we can do better. And I want to do better. I want to see our community do better. So, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. If I may ask, assuming we did this, and this is just hypothetical, and I think you and I have discussed it before, could in some cases they come in earlier, and maybe, get off? I know it has to do with outside appointment, as Mr. Brian Bocc pointed out, and was been pointed out by our attorney, the county job comes first, but
Yeah.
I know right now what we're doing, the 410s, we were coming in, they're starting
6:30.
6:30.
Well,
What if, I know there's some that we'll want to know about their other.
Preferred times would be between 8 and 5.
Yeah.
You're more accessible to the public. You're not putting the graders on the road when people are trying to get to school and get to work. So that is the optimum. But I think we could go back to the 7 o'clock to 3:30 And, you know, I appreciate Buddy's comments, but Buddy's been working for us for 41 years. He worked a lot more years at 5 days a week than he did 4 days a week. When you look at it, there was a lot more, and almost everybody that's here was hired under 5 days a week. I was talking to Roy Ellis the other day, and Roy said, well, it was only temporary anyway to get us through the economic crisis. So, I mean, I understand everybody got used to it, but I think for the public's interest, that it's best to go back in that go back to what we used to do, 7 to 3:30.
Well, and especially, and I think, I don't know how many people in this group have volunteer businesses or whatever, but I'm wondering, especially during the grass growing time, which also is longer the days, as our days get longer from now on through the summer, if maybe the 7 to 3:30 would allow them to then, do some yard maintenance and so forth, being as the year goes on, it'll be getting dark around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I'm wondering if that would be I'm not proposing that, I'm just on it as a compromise solution to understanding both sides of the issue, if that makes any sense. So.
Well, first of all, we contract all the grass.
No, I'm not talking about our grass, I'm not talking about, they do personal lawn service themselves for other people. That's what I'm talking about, they could get off at 3:30 and still do 5 days. And what Mr. Kaufman's saying is, at one time we did 7 to 3:30, giving them the, say, 4 to 8 o'clock during the summertime to maybe do some outside employment of lawn service or whatever they're doing, or tree trimming, because I know one employee does.
You know, what I don't understand is, all the surrounding counties that butts up to us, they're working 4 to 10-hour days. And if it's working in all them other counties, I don't understand why can't it work in Madison County? I don't understand that. And for the complaints, you know, Brian might have got some, but since we changed it back in 2008, I haven't got one complaint about us not working 5 days a week. I haven't got the first one.
I haven't had any complaints.
Mr. Chair, to add to the conversation, whatever decision we come up with, it needs to be a win-win situation for everybody involved, the public, the board, and the road department.
Yes.
Because we're all here for the public.
That's right.
You had another hand up, Mr. Chairman, back there.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Listening to the comments and sitting back thinking about what Mr. Kaufman was saying, I looked at the road department when I left a job over in Valdosta. I looked at the road department, I left a 4-day job from Valdosta to come to a 4-day job in Florida. Got a big pay cut. But I came there because it was closer and everything. Not only that, I looked at that road department like a group of yard men that's working for me. And I got an image that I'm trying to keep up. So I like my yard to look pretty. I want it to be neatly cut, neatly groomed, and acceptable. And I want everybody to know that I live there. That's what I looked at when I came to this road department. Not looking for a second job or having an outside business. Every time we look at that, and we look at Madison County as a public, and the weeds growing up and all that, 5 days or 4 days, you get no more than you get out the next. Okay? Regardless of how much we put into this here, the whole key thing is the employees are coming up, not complaining, but they're coming up and saying, if something ain't broke, why fix it? If the clock is still ticking and working good, why fix it? I would not go take up my grandmother's clock, her old time clock, if it's still going ding dong, ding dong. I don't need to go working on it. It's working. So y'all put y'all in this position is not to stand on the fence, not to pull aside, not to do favoritism, but to make the right decision based on the employees that work for the county, as well as residents of the county, as well as voters of the county, as well as members, friends, and families of the county, who y'all represent. And we're not asking for a miracle. We're asking for something simple. If it ain't broke, don't mess with it. That's all we ask.
Mr. Chair, I was gonna stay quiet as I could till I heard that. And I was elected to represent the public and represent the citizens. And I'm not, my colleague here, yes, I have gotten several complaints about the availability of our road department. And I have spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks talking to people, and friends of mine and just acquaintances, asking them about the services that they feel like they're getting with the 4-day work week. And everyone I've talked to says we'd be better served to serve the public, and that's your primary duty as a commissioner to represent the public, is to have your employees work 5 days a week. And that's my comment.
Thank you. Commissioner. Ma'am.
My name is Cynthia Dell Langston, and I'm a member of the community. And what I wanted to bring up is the fact that sometimes in these decision-making processes, you have to think about not only, what factors you should consider. And one of them is how many people does it require, how many people do you require to have to run the whole operation on the road crew? Because you have a 4-day work week. So say for instance, Joe or Sam decides on Thursday, that they're not gonna be able to make it to work, or Monday, they're gonna call in sick. That prolongs their long weekend. I'm not saying they do that, but I'm saying it's a possibility. Will that restrict the road crew from going out and doing the job that they need to do, which reduces the service all the more? So there's a lot of things to consider in the mix. It's not, these decisions should not be made from emotional standpoint. It should be made over the idea, what is in the best interest to serve the public? Thank you.
Thank you.
You got another hand?
Ms. Joe.
Just as Buddy said, he hadn't planned to come speak, I hadn't either. We've all hashed it over and spoken a lot. And I've worked here just 4 years less than Buddy. Whether we work 8-hour days or 10-hour days, this department has done its job, and we've done a good job. We keep the roads open, and we've done a very good job 4 days a week, keeping the roads open. As far as permitting, we've done driveway permits online. We've had maybe 1 or 2 times that we are aware of in all this time that we could not do a permit because we weren't there on Friday. And that's basically the main permitting we do, other than with utilities and so forth, and those take a few days to approve those for work on the roadways. So I don't want it to be an emotional thing. I'm kind of like Frankie a little bit. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. I know that there are always going to be some people that want that extra day that we're there. As I've worked both schedules, and I'm going to do my best regardless of what work hours I have. And I think the gentlemen that work with me, the other women that work with me, our supervisor will do the same. And I just think we've handled the storms, and we've had some things change, which have been improvements, but we've always managed to keep our roads in good repair. And we do the very best we can, and you have a really good work crew out there. And I respect your opinions, and I just hope you think through this. And if we can do the 4-day work week and continue with it, and it serves everyone, then that's the way I think it should go. But I know it's your decision, Brian's decision with you. And I don't think we need to fight about it, but I just think there should be a lot of thought about it, and not just serving the public, but serving your employees. And they don't get paid what they would be paid if they were working for a private industry naturally. They do get benefits, we all do. And they make up some of the difference. But anything that we can do to help these work crews that are out there, and we always have overtime crews, we have call out, so all the hours are handled. So just whatever you can do to help these men and women get what they deserve, I just want you to think about that. And if it isn't really broken and it can work this way, so be it. And I too have talked with a lot of different counties, they all have, before they work with. And I asked, well, what complaints do you get? And they said, very little. If we get complaints, it's the people that are going to complain anyway. So those are just things to think about. The DOT has a 4-day work week. So just think about your employees and the public. We want to serve the public, but I don't know that we've ever not served the public. So that's what I'd like you to think about. Thank you.
Mr. Joe, can I ask you a question real quickly? Do you have a way of logging? Do you have an answering machine or something that would tell you about calls that comes into the road department on
We
Friday?
have an answering machine at all times, and
Do you
it
have
refers people, if it's in a, if it's a road issue, call us back, we'll get the details, they can leave the message on the phone. And we pick those up. Lonnie, I think, checks it first thing every Monday morning, or whenever we've had a holiday or whatever. It is there, and we address those issues, and they are referred to the sheriff's department to call if it's a real emergency. Our call-out crew has a phone all the time. They respond to that, they come get the equipment they need, and they go out and take care of any kind of issues that come up after hours.
Do we have a large amount of complaints on Friday, call-outs for the road department?
We have some, but we did kind of a little study on that too, just to get information. And most of our call-outs are after 5, and or after even 3. We have people call in and they go on out on their regular hours. But we don't have a phenomenal amount of call-outs unless there's been a real storm. And when we have the storms, we are on duty, and we try to do as Mr. Kaufman wishes and the public during the storm issues. And I think we've all done a good job on that. So I respect whatever opinions you all have, and I respect the decision that you will make, but I'm just asking you to look at all sides. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
could I speak?
Sure.
I promise I'll keep this short, and I'm not gonna say everything I plan to. I'm not gonna try to ask you to go either way. All I wanna say is, when we come here as, leaders of this county, and you all are the leaders of this county, when we're forced to try to take sides, that's never gonna be a good thing. It's gonna be a no-win situation either way you got it. I wish we could go back to trying to figure out how we could keep our employees employed with the county, how to figure out how we can get incentives to get better service from our employees and get them to be dedicated to their job. I got a lot of men out here and women, and some that are not here, that have been with me 18, 20, 25 years. I hate to see them go away because they are very difficult to replace. I wish that we could figure out a way that we can work together and get cooperation. Madison County's always been known to put our differences to the side and get the job done. I just wish we could get that cooperation back. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Lonnie, I want to say publicly that I know Commissioner Davis and I last year said one of our key recommendations for the budget was try to get employee raises. We
Yes.
did this year for the first time, I think, in 4 years.
Yes.
And I'm committed to seeing that done again this year. I don't know the feeling of the other commissioners, but I think I would bet they probably agree with me. And I want to say publicly that every year I'm gonna try to see what we can do to make that happen. We can't always do it. We have things that come up, and it's been said already, we're a physically constrained county.
Yes.
And things are tight.
It is.
And, Ms. Barfield can't just arbitrarily drop extra money on, the valuation of property that, is a big hunk of our,
And our funds come from road gas tax.
that's road gas tax does y'all, that's true. And that, thank God for that. So, thank you.
If I may comment,
Yeah.
being that said, it's been mentioned that our 4-day, 10-hour day work week is a benefit. And in a sense it is, but we still work our 40 hours. It's not like we're
Still
taking an
40
extra
hours.
day off. We're
Yeah.
still putting in our 40 hours.
Absolutely.
But you gotta look at our employees, when you start taking benefits away, however minute that might be, where does it stop? You know, what other benefits are we gonna lose? And that's where my employees are coming from, and that's what part, I think, of you hired me to look out for my employees as well as the well-being of the roads for the people of Madison County. Is once we start losing the benefit, what few benefits that we do have to keep people employed, where does it stop? And that's where my employees are coming from, you know, we're not asking for a lot. But, like I say, that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Blunt. Seeing no other hands and any comments, I'm gonna open it up for.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have, a few comments I need to make. What if we looked at some employees maybe being off on Monday and some on Friday? I know that'll require some scheduling. But I think with the amount of employees that we have and the skills that we have in the road department, and along with scheduling to make it work, we still go to those 4 10-hour days. And like I say, it's just gonna require some scheduling that's gonna have to be done.
It'll cripple you, if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
It'll cripple us. You split your workforce on Mondays and Fridays, and I see it now when I am with them. You would assume everybody would go to the doctor on Friday because they're off, but they don't. They take off on Mondays or Thursdays, and so a lot of times people only work 3 days a week. And so it'll be the same thing as if I'm working half a force on Monday and half a force on Friday, and these are crews. These people, you got to work in teams. And so all of a sudden, you got 12 on one day and 12 on another. Well, all it takes is 3 to call in sick, and you're crippled. And especially on a Monday, when a lot of stuff comes in, you're gonna be running crippled. And I did this last time, is that you're basically taking your 5 fingers and cutting 2 of them off in half. And so then you're trying to work like that. And I've seen this with Jamie. Jamie's department has gone to doing a split shift. And all it takes is one of them to be out on a Monday and Friday, and I have nobody. Now Clay's department, we've been going back to a 5-day work week. Everybody else in the county is working a 5-day work week. And so give us all 5 fingers. We're all supposed to be part of a team, not just the road department, but all the departments. And when you got one department doing something different than the rest of the departments, that cripples us. And cutting me in half Mondays and Fridays is gonna cripple me too. I mean, it's not like we're firing people. All we're asking them is to work what they used to work. Work what I work what the public works. Work what all the rest of my staff work. That's all we're asking.
So is this about the road department working 4 10-hour days and everybody that's working 5 days a week? So it's more about that than?
No,
Yes, sir.
Sounds like it.
It's
Yes,
about,
sir.
it's about everything. It's about, but number one is the public. You're not accessible, because if my most important department can run on 4 days, well, then the rest of my departments could run on 4 days. We could shut administration down and save energy. But that doesn't make any sense, because we're not available to the public. I mean, we gotta be available to the public. You need all 5, you need all departments working. We all ought to be pulling.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I think each department works independently, and the road department, public works, is a lot different than an office staff. It'd be like us trying to tell Lisa that her EMS has to work 5 8-hour days. You know, and it just doesn't work. Each department sets up differently. And, I just wanna say, I go back like Frank, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I've only been on the board since November. And I've had comments about the work that the road department's doing. Very good comments, and they're doing a good job, and if it's working, don't change it.
And that's exactly what I said at the last meeting. It might have a crack or two in it, but it ain't broken. So why should we be most bothered with it?
All right. Is there a motion?
Yes, it's a motion. My motion to be, we leave it.
We don't use last week's motion.
I think Commissioner Moore made a motion to table it, right?
I believe, yes, I believe you have, when Commissioner Moore made the motion to table, there was a motion ahead of that, you now brought it off the table, and so that motion should probably be the one that you're considering. I don't remember what that
I
motion
think
was.
you're right.
It's in the minutes, if you want to take time to
Find
find
that,
out.
I knew the motion was that.
It's on page 4, Madam Clerk, the third paragraph, I believe.
The motion was that Commissioner Walter presented a motion that have the road department continue 4 10-hour days scheduling, second by Commissioner Martin.
Okay, so, right, leaving it at 4 10-hour days was the motion, that was originally, and Commissioner Moore asked to table it. So we'll bring that back up, so the 4 10-hour days is the motion. Do I have a second?
You already have.
You already have a second. You got a motion and a second.
Okay,
Any discussion?
all right. Any further discussion?
The only thing that I would say is, I appreciate all the work that the road department do. Folks tell me all the time what an outstanding job that they do, and I just feel like we should leave it the way it is. That's all I got.
Well, we all appreciate, what the road department does.
Absolutely.
And as I said earlier, we're here to work for the public, even up here at the dais and even roadway operators and whoever. So we're working for the public.
Call for the question.
All right, question been called for. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You have 2 ayes. All those opposed? Aye. It, 3 to 2.
Passed or failed, 3 to 2.
No, failed. Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, since that motion failed, your county coordinator has already made a decision. You have to do one of 2 things. You can do nothing and let that decision stand. You can have a motion in a second and decide it going the other way, or whatever the pleasure of the board is. But I think if you do nothing, I think the decision of the county coordinator would stand.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The decision at this point was a 2-3 vote, that it signals that the coordinator makes a decision. Unless we change it, and want to change something else.
Unless somebody else wants to make a motion doing something different.
Do I have any other motion to be heard? Hearing none, the motion stands as defeated. Okay? Move on to,
Mr. Chairman, can I say one thing before you close that, please?
yes, buddy.
I'll apologize for my first cut up here. I'm not polished, so I don't get, I'm not real polished in my speaking. But, I understand now we go to whatever Brian has us to go to, 5 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to say this, and I think I speak for the road department. We're grown men and grown women. We can handle it. We can handle it. We appreciate you listening to us, and thank you for what you've done for us. You went to bat for us. We appreciate that very much. But I want to say this. we're gonna work just as hard in 5 days as we did in 4 days. We're still gonna do our job, because like I say, we appreciate and we're thankful for our job. And we have families. So I just wanna thank y'all for standing up for us and trying to help us continue the way we've been doing for about 11 years, saving the county money by working 4 days. And it saved employees, you know, that extra trip. And we're gonna work with Brian. I think all the department, I know I'm under Lonnie. Lonnie's my supervisor. You work under him, but I think we're gonna do what we can to work with y'all, just as the same as, you know, this never come up. We just wanna thank y'all for giving us this opportunity, and hey, it come to it, you know. Like I said earlier, it's a small county, you know, something like this, you never come to this. You always should stick together and try to work together. I want to thank y'all, guys.
Buddy, I want to thank you for your comments.
Appreciate you, all of you.
And I want to say too, that I think the road department does an excellent job. I get a lot of comments about things that are, but, and every time I get a comment about, we've got a problem, I can call Buddy, I can call Lonnie, and it's usually fixed right away, and, or as quickly as y'all can. And I think y'all do it. I really want to say, as everybody else said, we thank you very much. God bless you. Number 3, and 4, it looks like number 3, 4, and 5 come under Jamie. Jamie, come on up. We'll treat you like we treat Lonnie sometimes when you got the next 3 items. Come on.
Yeah, it looks like I'm taking up too many slots here. No, what I have is some good news. Some things some good things are happening in the mosquito control department, which is what I'm representing today. And the first thing is, for the last couple of years, actually, I guess it's been a year, we've had Florida State University do our surveillance for us. And that's worked out real good, because they come in, they put traps, they pick them up, they do the counts, and they send me a report. So I can tell you things every 2 weeks. I can tell you what our mosquito counts are looking like and what's out there. So that's great intel for me to do the job. However, this is done through a grant, through a legislative process. So they're having to lobby for this. They're having to get this money. There's been some shaking up within FDACS. There's a new commissioner now. There's new legislators, and some of them are not as mosquito savvy as the old ones were. So there's a big push this year to get support for this program. So what I was asked to do is to get as much support from my higher-ups as possible. So I forwarded an email to Brian, and we talked about it, and he agreed to bring it before you guys to do a letter of endorsement, so to speak, for the program. And that was what we were asking today, is to request a letter of support to continue this surveillance program, to let them know how important it is for our community.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner.
Move that grant request for letter of support.
Second. I have a motion and a second to support request number 3 under the continued Florida State University mosquito surveillance program. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor of letter of support, say aye.
Aye.
5 vote.
Great, thank y'all so much. And just as a little detail, it represents about $50,000 for that person. I think they pay them a pretty good salary to come and do our county and Taylor County. And with the equipment, the startup cost was like $120,000. So we're getting a good service for free. It doesn't cost us a dime. They just, when they ask us to do stuff, I try to be Johnny on the spot, because we do appreciate it. So
Free is always good. We don't hear that too often.
exactly. So I appreciate that from you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, did that take care of number 4 also, or is it?
Number 4 is a totally different thing, and some more good news here. So as you guys know, what we have in our county is what we call an IPM program, Integrated Pest Management. That covers a lot of facets. As a program, we're supposed to be doing everything we can to combat the mosquito problem because of disease in every way possible. That includes larviciding, that includes adulticiding, and includes surveillance, things like that. Biological control, putting fish in ditches and things like that. However, with the limited funds that we have available to us, a larviciding program is really out of the scope of what we can do as a two-man department. And I know I've talked to some of you before about larviciding, and I've always said it's way too expensive. One man out there putting pellets, putting granules in the ditch, you're just not gonna do much good. So I would like to now mention that we are receiving the funds to start a larviciding program. And that's the main reason we've never done it. The startup fees were expensive. The equipment's expensive, the larviciding is expensive, and we just didn't have the funds out of the normal budget to do it. The funds that you guys give to the mosquito control department are used to pay my salary, my helper's salary. We also pay a part-time guy who comes in 3 to 8 hours a week and helps me do some surveillance and other things. So our budget covers that stuff. Fuel for the trucks covers the chemical that we spray, and that's great. But to start a larvicide program, you're talking, pretty big bucks, significant. So I heard that there was a grant out there through Department of Health. I was told about it. I was asked if we wanted to participate in it, and I said, heck yeah. So they made me jump through some hoops. One of the hoops was to submit a budget of what I would spend the money on. So I did, and I shot high. And not only did I get that amount, I got an extra $10,000 on top of that because I was the quickest one to send in the budget. So in total, our county will be receiving $70,000 from the Department of Health. And what this will cover is equipment, everything necessary to get this program up and running. Again, I submitted a budget and it was broke down to, how many gallons of chemical, it's pretty extensive. So what I have done now, the way this grant works is it's a reimbursement. So we spend the money up front, they give it back to us. And right now what they're doing is cutting me purchase orders for $20,000 at a time. The first purchase order already came in, I've already spent it. We got 2 new ULV units, brand new. So our old units are about 20 years old. And they've been giving me problems. And so first things first, priority, get the chemicals that we need to do the job, or get the equipment we need to do the job. Second thing I'm gonna do is buy the larvicide to use in the community. So the 2 old units we're gonna convert over to larviciding units. So we'll be able to do it from the trucks and not just out there by hand, which is gonna enable us to cover a lot more ground. So that's kind of my plan for the future. Any questions or?
I want to just thank you for getting a grant in and doing as well as you did on it. I think 70K is great.
Yeah, I was really happy.
I know you will put it to good use.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So you've already been approved, the grant's been approved, and you've been expending.
Yep. Now, here's the stipulation. It's a timed thing. They want us to have it spent by July 30th. I told them that's no problem for me. My problem is now I'm ready to buy more stuff, so I'm waiting for the reimbursement for the $20,000.
Gotcha.
So that's not gonna be a problem. In fact,
when the next tax come?
yeah, in fact, I asked them if they could give it to us all in one lump sum, and they are actually gonna talk about doing that. So we may be rolling even faster, but it started out as an idea, and then it became a reality, and now it's kind of rolling. So we've already spent the $20,000, should be getting a check for reimbursement for that, and then I can spend some more money. So that's kind of where we are, and I think it's going to definitely boost our program from being a more reactive to a proactive. So now I can go out in the daytime. I'm not limited to nighttime spraying. Now I can go out in larvicide in the daytime, and I'm not restricted to a certain area of the county. I can go out anywhere. As long as we have that truck and those chemicals, we can put it anywhere we want to in the county and kind of head them off before there's a problem. And as y'all guys know, this is gonna be a bad season. They're already bad. So that's why I'm getting a little more proactive about it, trying to get ahead of the season.
Well, we had a wet fall and a little bit of rain today, and we very well may have a wet spring, and you know what
Yeah,
that's gonna rain.
and it's been really warm, so.
So, yes,
Yeah.
unseasonably warm.
Mr. Chair, if the
Yes.
motion is over, I move that we approve the, grant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Thank you so much. And then the next one kind of piggybacks off of that. So with the new sprayers, I really need some new trucks to put the sprayers on. It doesn't make sense to put new sprayers on our old trucks. We've got a 94 Ford that it runs good, and then we've got a 2001 Ford. So with the grant money, I would also like to purchase a couple of vehicles. And I've gone through the bid process. I've gotten 5 or 6 bids. And right now, the cheapest one is Coggins, I believe in. Yeah.
Is that the same problem?
It's
You
it's
sure
the
you wanna
same
use
company.
Coggins?
I already had it circled for my opinion on it already, but until I heard Lee's.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know.
I don't need
I
a,
thought we were going to Coggins too, but Lee kind of shut up.
well, I don't need a 4-wheel drive. So that 4x2 they delivered to you, I could use that one. So, you know,
Call them, won't tell them, bring it back.
I just need bare bones. Hopefully they'll have that one in stock, but, looking at 22,000, and I'll need 2 of those. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
And that would be purchased with, the grant money.
Right, it will be purchased with grant money, yes.
It will keep you with, excuse me,
Yeah, go ahead.
within your grant
Yes.
budget?
Yep.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion to approve and second, any further discussion?
Approve a little bit.
A little bit, you a little bit from Coggins. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Thank y'all very much, and
All right.
unless you have any questions, that's all I got.
We only got 2 more items, but let's take a short break.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to commend Jamie for not only getting that grant, but because of his diligence and record keeping and paperwork, the grant was larger than it was originally started out to be. So I do wanna, and Jamie is an excellent record keeper.
Yes.
On both animal control and mosquito control, so I wanna commend you for that, Jamie. You do a good job.
Thank you. I hate paperwork, but sometimes it pays off, so I try to keep it.
Well,
Appreciate you, Jasmine.
Thanks.
thank you, James, appreciate it very much. All right, 10 minutes.
To start on that.
Yeah,
And
I'm
have
okay
one
with
for
it.
the next meeting.
Well, by consensus, can we do that?
Y'all can just direct me,
Yeah.
I'll draft it based on this and maybe add a few extra. I got Cheryl and she can do whereases and she's very good at whereases. And, we'll put in some Madison specific things and then I'll work with the cities individually and see if we can get something from them.
Great.
Well, there's definitely strength in numbers, and we probably made more progress in the last 2 months or 3 months than has been made in
A lot.
some many years, so.
I don't think there's any question about that.
It's heading in the right direction,
Right.
just keep it going.
It's very obvious, and it's,
I get questions all the time, every day, so how's the river going, or how's that going? I said, well, it's going. And I said, I'm not telling you it's gonna be fixed in a month, or 30 days, or 3 years, but we're definitely gonna keep it moving, you know, so.
I attended the one over at Swanee River Water Management. I think that gentleman, although he did a little dancing here and there, I don't think there's any question about Austin is very keenly aware of how Florida feels when he was, over there, what was that, 2 weeks ago, Brian? They're keenly aware of how we feel, and I think their intentions are good. I don't know that they're doing all the right things to everything done at this point, but I think they're getting feel the pressure from what I heard in that meeting that day. So, all right,
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Mr. Moore, any comments?
I just wanna thank everybody that, participated in the road cleanup this past Saturday. I haven't gone back in the area where I worked, or where I assisted, but
It looks good.
it looks good.
It looks good, yeah. There's only like 2 pieces out there that you need to go back and get.
But I think the main thing is, educating people not to litter, because, I've seen people just literally throw trash out of their cars, and that's not good.
No.
So, we did make a difference. I didn't get a tonnage report, have you heard?
Clay?
It's loaded on the truck and hasn't made it to the landfill yet. Hopefully it'll be there in the morning.
Okay, all right, good.
Was it as much as we had the first time? I think we were over 3 tons last time, weren't we?
Yes, over 4. I don't believe it'll be as much, which that's what, one of the commissioners was wanting a reduction in it, so
Yeah, well.
hopefully there's an
Hopefully it wasn't a
improvement.
reduction in participation.
There you go.
I apologize, I was unable to attend. I wanted to, but I had a commitment I couldn't get out of, and I wasn't able to participate. Next time, hopefully I will.
Okay, and, one other thing, Mr. Chair, I got a run sheet from, Chris Williams.
Right.
Showing the, fire calls through the district. That's all I have.
Mr. Walter?
Everything's lovely. I will say, I'm having a few people that are questioning now that we're getting some of the paving done and the road stripe that looks so good. Some of our older blacktops we probably need to look at trying to do some road striping. They're seeing how good it looks with the new paint and the new striping, so, and they're beginning to question when we could possibly get some of that done. But other than that, that's all I have.
I would imagine, I think, the next time, instead of doing unpaved roads, we're probably gonna be having to look at doing some resurfacing, on existing ones that we probably paved years ago that have been, are beginning to show neglect. Mr. Thigpen probably would agree with me on that.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I have one, and I promise. ARC participated, I got a couple of emails from ARC about and they wanted to participate in the road cleanup, and they weren't able to do it Saturday. And we have a lot of other citizens that did around the community that didn't do it on Saturday because they had other things, but they did get out here in days earlier. But ARC picked up 14 today. They told me they got like 10 bags. I don't know, Clay, if they put them in the receptacle out there, or if they just went to a regular site or not, but, they did say that they may be available as an option for us, should we, I mentioned this to Brian, I know Brian's working on a lot of different avenues for having some assistance for our road cleanups, and, they may be available to do something on a contractual basis in the future, should we look at that, so. Instead of doing these 1 day a year cleanups, we might have some out there on a continuous basis, so.
Good.
And I know, I think you're looking at, we're still doing some work with DOC as far as trying to get them.
Not on the paid side, you know,
Right.
but Clay has been working hard with them about trying to get more reliable inmates on our other crews. And so that would free us up some time we can get back out on the roads too.
I think education's an important thing, but I think we're gonna have to, as a board, start looking at some type of ways of contractual on a yearly basis to, you know, keep our roads clean, so.
Right. Mr. Reed?
No, sir, unless you have questions.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I could run through a couple of pictures and tell you about, this is Martin Luther King. This is at Sumter James Park. This is inlet structures. And if you would, Shirley, just kind of go through the pictures. Jerome and I were out looking the other day, and he took some of these pictures. And I had talked with Jerome back about the time he became the city manager, and I said, you know, I would like to do some work down there on Martin Luther King. That's a good one right there. You see the deep ditches that we have on that road? And that road is, as you know, it's a heavily traveled road. And you can go kind of a few more pictures, Shirley. and what I wanna look at doing is improving the sidewalk on that road. The sidewalks are in pretty bad disrepair, and there's a lot of people that use that road to walk. And they travel fairly fast on the road. Jerome, it's actually a county road, and we paved it here, repaved it, what was it, year before last, I think. we repaved it.
Right.
And, but I was talking to Jerome, and the city has worked well with us over the last couple of years, as they've got some properties along that road, so they help a lot with the mowing already. Cause they have smaller mowers that can get in there, and sometimes when they have the inmate crew, they can get down in there and keep it. And so this last year, even when Tim was with us, we worked pretty good on, they helped us keep that road up. But Jerome said that he does have some money through his gas tax funds, that he's looking at trying to improve roads within the community. And so he's gonna be holding some meetings, community meetings, and get some input, but he already knows that this is one of the roads that he would like to do something on. He's asked me to come to the city commission meeting, next month and talk to the commissioners or be there when they talk about this, and maybe we can do a joint effort. One of the things Jerome's looking at doing is hiring a city employee that has masonry skills, and so maybe the city can actually start pouring some concrete. He has some prices on what they're paying contractors, and if he gets an employee that can do the work, when we do get the inmate crews, he can direct them at pouring the concrete. So I told him, yeah, this is something I'd like to fix and partner with him on, and you know, if it takes us to help move dirt, and help pay for some of the concrete, but we can work that out. You know, we'll have to look at our budgets and everything, next year, but this is something that I think that we ought to take a look at, and especially if we got a partner, that we can do something with on. But I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention, because they're gonna be holding these community meetings, and they may mention about working with the county, so I wanted to tell y'all.
Looks like some pipe culvert there needs to be replaced.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Very nice. Ms. Biddle? Well, before I entertain that motion, any, claim to sleep in, anybody back here?
Yes.
Lisa?
No.
Okay. I have a motion to adjourn. Motion.